Hello, this is Christian here. In this video, we'll be making database queries in PHP. First, we need to create a MySQL database using the PHP Admin interface. Then we'll be creating a course table and insert some sample data into the course table. And then we'll go into PHP and create a database connection. And we'll need to select the database to use. And we'll create a query string using the select statement to display some data to the browser. In our demo, we'll be performing the read function of the CRUD operation. So let's get to it. All right, so here in the IDE, I'm using the same DB connection or connect we used in the previous video. I'm going to modify a few things here in a bit, but for now, I also added a CRUD CSS here. I'm going to use this in future videos. Just very simple, CSS style sheet to format some of the tables and so forth. So feel free to create your own. It doesn't really matter what you use there, just to make it a little bit nicer. All right, so before we do any coding here, we need to go into PHP Admin, the interface, to create our database and populate with some data. So again, just make sure that your MySQL database system is running and Apache is also running, because we need to access PHP Admin from here. So to get there, you just basically click on the admin button here under the MySQL tab. You click that one there, and you can close this now. And let me get my browser over here. Okay, so here is the interface. You should be logged in. If not, you need to log in. Once you log in here, you should get this screen here. So the screen is very, intuitive. You can see that your objects are on the left column. This is where all the activities are occurring, and then here is just some other additional information on the right side. So by default, you have 5 databases, okay, and then these are provided by MySQL. I'm going to create a new database, so you can click the new here on the left column, or you can go to databases on the top here, click the database menu, and then you create the name, provide the name of the databases here, and just create a new one. So either one. So I'm going to go right here, and my database, I'm just going to call it very simple, just say MyDB, okay? And then just click create. You can select the default SDR. Now the next screen is you get this option to create a table, because right now inside my DB there's nothing there, just like test, right? There's no tables. So I'm going to create a table, and the table I'm going to create is called courses, or just called course, and it's going to have 4 fields by default. So I want to show the ID of the course, so the course ID, the title, a credit column, and a letter grade, or a grade that students received, for example. I'm not going to put a student ID there. I mean, eventually, usually you do that, but I'm just assume that there's a student in there. And you can add more columns. I mean, for this demo, I think that's plenty. So go ahead and click go. And then now I need to fill these in. So the first one, I'm just going to call it ID. And course ID, well, it's possible it can be all integer. It may be, it may include letters, like, for example, 101A or something like that, or PHP 101, right? So I want to make that as a varchar. And I'll just limit that to no more than 5 characters. Okay, and so let me close this over here. Has some more room. On the right side, this is not going to be null. I want this to be my primary key. That means it should be unique. There's no duplicates, right? So under this index here, you want to say primary, and just click go. And I can't choose auto increment. AI here is auto increment. It only works if your ID or the type here is an integer. If it's not, then it's not going to work here. All right, so that's the first field. The next field is the title of the course. I'll just put title here. It's going to be a varchar. The title could be long, so I just put 100 characters long, and the rest could be as is. I don't want it to be null. If you put null here, that means the title can be empty. Right? We want to require that title have something, and the credits will have an integer, assuming they'll only take whole number credits. There's no half credits, so just say 2 digits. That's pretty. Basically just 1, but you might have, like, I don't know, just be safe, right? And again, just leave the rest as is. And the last here is the grade. So the grade will be a varchar. And I'm just going to put 2 characters here, right? You can A, B, C, D, and F, and you might have an A plus, things like that too. So, all right, and then that's it. So click Save, and you'll see that you have this table created. All right, and then now you need to insert some data to this table here. So just go insert, click Insert up here, and insert some data. So I'm going to call this one here just maybe 101. The course will be, I guess, PHP. Maybe PHP programming. Credits would be 3. Let's just say we got an A in this class. And the next one would be maybe like 201. This is intro to Java. Let's just say 3 credits, and this is a little bit hard, so we put like maybe a B plus. Okay, and click Go here. And you only got 2 inserted, so you can see this is the syntax, right? The query statements to how that was created. And you need to know this in order to, run this inside PHP. But that's later. So I'm going to add 2 more. I got maybe like this is like 3, 3, 3. This is beginning web. It's like C++. This is a 3 credit course, and it's pretty hard. So let's just say we got a C in this one, unfortunately. And then the last one, let's put 4 here. This would be like 4, 5, 6, and I just say web dev. And this is a 3 credits. So we got, to put 2 credits, we got an A plus in this one. Okay, so click Go. And there it is, my table. I click Browse, and you should see I have those 4 courses. So that's all I needed to know to do for now. And so we have a database called MyDB. Inside that MyDB has a table called course, and the course you have 4 columns and so on. Okay, so you can close this for now. Just make sure MySQL is running. So inside here in the IDE, I'm going to change this DB connect here to MyDB is not going to be called test, it's called MyDB, right? And the table, I'm going to create another field and I'll call it table. The table I'm using is called course. Okay, so the rest would still be same. Now, I'm not going to need this anymore. I don't want to show that. I don't want to show this either. And also, I comment this out too. You don't want to close that because once you close it, you can't use it. And it may look like kind of messy here, but usually when you refactor this, you can put all this in nicely in their own location. And you may even want to put this inside a function and just invoke the function. But for now, this is sufficient. Okay, so save this, and now I'm going to go and create a file. Let's just say this is the index page. I'm going to call the index.html. And this index page is basically it's going to have all the operations of the CRUD operations. So I'm going to call it CRUD operations. And in this video, I'm just going to do the select or the read. Okay, and I'm going to link to my CSS as well. So link href is the CRUD. Href CRUD.css. Okay, so that's good to go. And then the body here, I'm going to put h1 here, just say CRUD operations. Okay, and then I'm just going to put like maybe 4 links to link to each of those pages, maybe. And we can change this later. For now, I'll just say this one's going to go to the select PHP. And then I'll put here select. And I'll put a pipe symbol here to separate each of those. I'll do like Control D 4 times. This one's going to go to the insert. This will be going to the update. And this is the delete. Let me just change it over here. So this will be delete, update, or edit. Okay, so I don't need that pipe here. And I think that's it. I can save that and let's run on the browser and see what that looks like. All right, so here we go. This is the operation here. So when I click this, it's going to go to the select PHP, and it's going to display the data from the database here. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to copy this. Well, this will be my what do you call it? This is the navigation, right? So you could put nav here, and then you put here as well. So Control Alt L to format this. And what I'll do is I'll create another file here. We'll call it the nav. So include nav. And then I'm just going to copy this nav and then put it inside the nav. There's no PHP, just pure nav. And then inside here, then I'm going to include oh, I can't because this is not indexed. Okay, I'm going to change this to HTML, from HTML to a PHP file. So I can include the nav here. So we're going to call this include inc nav.php. Okay, and let me change this to not HTML, but to a PHP file, so we can have access to PHP code. Okay, so now, and then, so we got the navigation here. All right, so when I click that nav, and let me change this to, say, PHP. I click select, it's going to go to the select. Okay, good. So now I'm going to just duplicate this index here, Control C, Control V, and we'll change this to select. It will be the same. I could call it here, maybe like select here, so we know this is the select. And navigation will stay here. But I'll show on the bottom here is the actual table of that select. So when you do this, I want to include the database connection. This DB connection here needs to go up here at the top of the page so I can use it inside this file. Okay, so I'll just include the DB connect. So now that's accessible. All right, so when I click the select, it's going to show in here. And side here under the navigation, I'm going to have the table. So I have a table, and then I have a maybe like a table head, and then I have a table body as well. Okay, so in the head section, what's going to go there? Well, the same as we seen earlier, right? So the ID, course number, and ID and title and so forth. So here I'm going to put the TH, and here would be just a course number, and then I'm just going to press Control D 3 times. This is the title, and this is the credits, and finally the grade. Okay, and then in the body, this is going to be automated by PHP, right? So you want to show here, you want to show the row. The first one's going to be like the course ID, and then the title, credit, grades. Okay, this will be in a loop because you want to print everything from the database, depending on how many you have, right? So it'll be here. But before we do all that, then when we go to the select up here, let's see, yeah, we got the include up here already, so we're good to go. And so this part needs to be inside a PHP, and I'll copy this in there in a minute. I just want to put the skeleton here so I can see what's going on. So then down here, you need to make a query. You know, by now when we run this file, we already connected to the database. Have we selected a database yet? No, we haven't. Oh, we did. Yeah, we selected a database right here. We use the DB, which is called MyDB, and then the table is called course using the table constant. So back here, then we need to query basically. Here, make query. So we're going to say a variable query is equal to, so select everything, right, the star from the table called table. That's all. I'm retrieving everything from there. Once you make the query, then you need to execute it. And you execute it by calling the function mysqli query, and then you need to pass in two parameters. The first one is the link, which is the connection, and then the next is the query. And you can see that I put the as a variable here because it's much easier to manage. Otherwise, you can also put that here too. You can do that and then put it here, right? It's just nicer to put inside its own variable this way. Okay, so that, and then you need to assign that to a variable, maybe something like result. So what you get is a result set. Okay, if it's successful, then you get a result set. Otherwise, you get an error or you get a false. So how do you know it's going to be there or not? Well, you need to check it. So you can say if the result is none, you get a null or false. If that's the case, you get an error. There's none. So you can say die or error, and then you put here error. And this is a better way to actually, remedy this. You don't want to say, you don't want to throw that out to the user and just, freak them out. You don't want to say something like nicer. But for now, I just want to show you that if it doesn't work, then it's going to have an error here, right? So the connection. Okay, so I'll put the message and we stop execution at that point. Or if you want, you can put just echo and then it will still show the information below it. Okay. So then if it's successful, then we can echo a message, or actually we're going to do the loop and display this information here. That means you use a while loop. This is very common. You're going to get each row from the MySQLi fetch. You have three options here, a couple options. You can fetch by row, array, the field, or fields, or associate array. So I'm going to use this one here. You can also use array, that's fine too. Yeah, we use array. You can use associated array or just row. If you're using row, then you have to reference the row by index only. If you're using array or associate array, you can also reference the index name. Okay, so the array, and I'm going to pass in here the result set, which is the result set here. Okay, so you're going to read one record at a time, one row at a time, pass it to a variable called row. So now this row variable object has the entire record for that single record of data. And then now you can just basically echo and build that row. So I'm going to build this tr here, right? So put echo here, tr. I begin the tr here. I'll just do one at a time so it doesn't get confusing. I put td here. Inside the td, what am I going to get? I'm going to show the row of ID. That's what I'm going to use, right? Show that, and then you close that column. So you grab the ID. The next field is the title, credits, grade. So this is the title, this is the credits, and this is the grade. So if you're using just like fetch row instead of array, then you cannot use the ID here. It has to be like row 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 and so forth. So you have to kind of know them in that order. But it's always easier this way because you can reference the ID directly here. And so it's going to display all of that, and then at the end of the row, I need to close my tr. And I think that should be it, right? So this is exactly the same as up here. I have some data in there now, so I don't need this anymore. And then when I, loop through that, all those records, all those rows, then I'm done. So I close my tbody, which is open up here, and then close the table, and then I'm done. And then the bottom here is just a footer, but you can put the footer down here if you want. So let's see, let's save this and let's see if this works. I'm going to go to the browser now. And so refresh my page just in case. So I go to select, and there it is. Let's see, these are the actual data that is pulled from the database. I probably need some padding up here to make it a little bit nicer, and we'll do that very quickly here. So I would just probably wrap this with a div. And I think I already formatted the div to have some padding or margin. So we'll just wrap that there. And again, press Alt Control L or Command Alt L to format this automatically for us, to beautify this for us. Okay, so let's go and then reload that browser again. Just refresh it. And it gets a little bit spacing. There you go. This is the select or the read operation of the CRUD operations. So if you have any questions, please let me know. But This is how you do it using the read. In the next couple of videos, the next sections, we'll be doing the full CRUD operations. We'll do the insert, update, and delete. So you can see how things are done in PHP.